Continue our story with the Autobot ship actually breaching Earth's atmosphere. Keep in mind, the Deathbringers are pretty much comfortable here, but it's the main team this time, or at least the main seven, as the Constructicons would have actually needed to be left behind because of how small even a simple Decepticon dropship actually is. So yeah, they'll be there soon, but right now it's just these guys or these individuals here. And we have Stinger and Predaking in the back of the ship with him trying to help the Predacon kind of understand. And keep in mind, Stinger doesn't know if he can transform, but thinks it would actually be a good learning experience if he can. So after turning into his vehicle mode a couple of times, he does encourage Predaking to try his own. To which Predaking does actually get the hang of it and, well, transforms far earlier than the original. And Stinger says, "Good job, big guy, but now I feel like you don't deserve to be called the Predacon anymore. You want a name?" To which Predaking does pick his own name, Predaking and all that. And this is where he does state that he kind of regrets, not being able to save any of his brethren. However, this is where Dreadwing simply notes that, well, maybe we could possibly recreate them or resurrect them in the future. We don't know how much Shockwave have found, but again, his laboratory should still be available once we win the war and get back to Cybertron. To which Predaking's actually happy about this. He gets to have his own species, maybe his own race resurrected and living peacefully amongst other Cybertronians this time, a second chance at it. And this is where Blackout actually does take a note of Predaking, saying that, well, this is actually pretty great. We've actually discovered something that Shockwave didn't. So maybe this could actually give us a solid edge over the Decepticon. To which, well, this is where Predaking says, while he does bear no hatred towards his creator, he does understand that he needs to be stopped at all costs. So this is where Blackout also tells them now they're entering Earth's atmosphere, and he actually does begin to try and communicate with anyone around, and does have to park at a military base before anything. But this is where they do manage to contact Autobot Outpost, Omega, and stuff like that. And keep in mind, we are pretty much after the Rising Darkness saga, so that kind of goes as canon. We're kind of like, I would probably say, in the Masters and Students timeline at this point, or at least in the Masters and Students episode at this point. And Optimus is happy to hear that the Deathbringers have actually taken his offer and have come to Earth. However, Ratchet is the more skeptical one of the group here, because again, he does understand that the Autobots have done Stinger wrong, but again, he's also retaliated against them viciously as well. What's to say he won't do it again? To which RC kind of rolls her optics at this and is just like, dude, he literally bailed us out against Tripticon and against Megatron's Dark Energon. Well, what's there more to expect? However, when the ground bridge opens, this is where the others do come in, and Shadow Strike is the first one to actually greet RC. And this is where we actually do kind of see like this new dynamic being built with Shadow Strike, Flame War, and RC being the girls of the group here. And keep in mind, everyone files in except for Stinger and Blackout. And Dreadwing is actually trying to hold back his laugh while Soundwave's kind of like, like face palming himself. And this is where Predaking walks in his beast mode, scaring the living crap out of everybody. Even Optimus is a little bit shaken by this here, and everyone kind of points their blasters until Predaking transforms and actually laughs, asking how did he do? And this is where Blackout and Stinger come in, laughing their tailpipes off, because this was pretty much their idea. And Flame War actually states, for a minute there, I thought you didn't have a sense of humor, boss man. To which Stinger's like, wow, really? I'm not stern and stubborn all the time. Besides, he hasn't really had too much to laugh about. And this is where Predaking transforms, and, well, Predaking's already transformed, excuse me. This is where Predaking actually does begin to greet the others as well, and even Ratchet is, like, taken aback by this because he didn't think Predacons possessed this evolution. Into which Stinger does manage to greet Optimus, but keep in mind, it's with a more skeptical tone still. And Optimus, even though he can tell Stinger's a bit skeptical of him, welcomes him openly and states that the chain of command does not change. You are still his equal. And, he still tells Stinger he's his equal and everything. However, Stinger looks around and realizes that someone's missing. He could have sworn he had somebody, they had somebody else here. And this is where he gets tackled by Bumblebee, who actually, tackles Stinger to the ground and, hugs him. Into which Stinger laughs as, again, keep in mind, Bumblebee is his younger brother. But again, it's funny here because they're around just about the same height, with Stinger having a slight height difference to make him look like he's the older brother. So Bumblebee and Stinger hug each other, and they both do catch up a little bit. Now, we do get a certain montage of things here. They meet the human characters with them actually getting along here, especially with Flame War, Miko, and Shadow Strike. Albeit Shadow Strike is a little bit skeptical because Miko is just as much as a troublemaker as her own sister. So that's going to be a fun thing in the future. We then get Blackout actually moving into the laboratory and actually working on some equipment along with the likes of Bulkhead. Then we also have Soundwave upping the Autobots' communication and upping their data system as well with a lot of the Decepticon information. Meanwhile, everyone does get their vehicle mode, and Stinger and Bumblebee actually do have a drag race outside the base here, where Bumblebee actually proves to be the faster of the two, while Stinger is only barely able to keep up with him. And he actually enjoys the fact that his brother is actually outdoing him in something, even though he's, better than him in terms of combat and stuff like that. So overall, he just he gets a very good living here on Earth. Now, keep in mind, there isn't too much Decepticon activity, but the Deathbringers do make their presence known when raiding a Decepticon Energon mine. Keep in mind, with Soundwave they're actually able to systematically plan this out far better than any of the Team Prime members could. Meaning, not only do they secure a stable Energon supply far earlier than they did in the original, but that, everyone is able to kind of, the Autobots Energon supply is actually much more stable. So that works out entirely. And keep in mind, they do this 2 to 3 times, team swapping out with the main Team Prime members every now and again. So yeah, I can't even say that this is a bad thing overall, because one, you got Soundwave, giving y'all Decepticon information. This would likely even include Energon mines as well, how they operate, how they work. And keep in mind as well, Stinger doesn't really kill every Decepticon drone. He kills a few, but he doesn't kill them all. And this kind of shows that he does value the life of, the drones and stuff like that. He still values or still holds on to that, I would definitely say hold on to that little bit of, morality he has, even towards things like the Viacons and stuff like that. And keep in mind, they take note of this as well. And Jack even asks him for a favor, but I'm not going to say what that favor is just yet until we get to that exact episode. But keep in mind, Stinger does honor it. But we head over to the Decepticon warship. Keep in mind, this is still during the Masters and Students timeline, right? So, Megatron, unfortunately, or fortunate enough as it is still in that coma. Also, why did they never put one on his chest here? If the Cybertronian has to live through the spark, you get what I mean? I understand they can also survive via their mind, but if also their biology dictates that they can also survive via the spark, wouldn't a life support tube be better if it's placed on his chest early? Let's be real. But again, that is Starscream for you. But even then, Starscream, still looking like his robots in disguise, counterpart, mind you, does state that they need some kind of edge over the Autobots, considering the fact that they couldn't even deploy the Combaticons on the space bridge. To which Shockwave does state they could easily contact them, or at least give him a chance to head back to Cybertron. To which Starscream says, "What? And you upshow me? No, I have no time for your game, Shockwave." To which Shockwave simply states, "May I remind you, I am the one who gave you a critical edge, and you still fumbled it." But before this can actually divulge into Starscream trying to attack Shockwave, and Shockwave promptly pimp slapping him, this is where Onslaught comes in and actually states, "Hey, if you two are done bickering at the moment, we actually do have something for you." To which Starscream is like, "What is it?" We're kind of in the middle of something discussing Megatron's resurrection. We don't even have anything to resurrect him. Starscream kind of lying through his metallic teeth here. And this is where Brawl states, well, you actually sent us to scout out any energon sources, to which this is where they do inform them that, yeah, the Deathbringers are in strong, are coming in strong on their energon mines. But they did find someone, that being Skyquake. Keep in mind with, Skyquake actually being discovered early, and, well, the Deathbringers kind of being there and doing energon mine raids with the Autobots so that they can secure a healthy supply. This is where I would definitely have, Skyquake kind of just be found by the Combaticons, or at least Onslaught and Brawl, and he's brought to the ship. To which Starscream was like, good, good, good. There's no need to be timid, Skyquake. You may bow. But Skyquake, ever the loyalist, walks past Starscream and Shockwave, gives Shockwave an acknowledging nod, and bows towards Megatron's body, and saying that even in death, there is no command but Megatron's. And this actually goes to show how the Decepticon cause is right now. Keep in mind, Soundwave defected. I feel like that should say a lot here. And Skyquake is one of the last remnants of the old Decepticon cause. So keep in mind where this is going to go here. And again, he is aware of his brother's disposition by now, and it was kind of explained to him on the way there. But now he still holds that loyalty to Megatron. But keep in mind, there is that little bit of, doubt within him. So, yeah, you have that. Meanwhile, Onslaught does want to know what's their plan to getting Megatron back on track. And Starscream states he does not know just yet, as we don't know where Megatron has even gotten the Dark Energon in the first place. He just discovered it. But that's where we leave off with the Masters and Students episode. Next up is the Scrap Heap episode. And this actually takes differently. So when Bulkhead and Bumblebee return, they actually come with the Scraplet pod a lot earlier. And Blackout tells them, put it back immediately and very carefully. It's still frozen and nice. We could easily get this done and get it out here. So all the Autobots are looking like, wait, what? And the Deathbringers take a good look at the pod for a minute, and they're like, oh no, absolutely not. Put it back. To which Bulkhead's like, wait. Can y'all at least explain why we should put it back? I mean, we just found this. It could likely be something useful. To which Shadow Striker states, there's no way you guys don't even know what a Scraplet pod is. To which Predaking's like, what's a Scraplet pod? And this is where Shadow Striker's like, okay, minus the Predacon over here, he should be the only one not knowing what this is. And this is where Flame War kind of sets everyone off by saying she's not even going near the pod. And if this is where Stinger's like, okay, let me explain something to y'all real quick. If she's not going to touch it, if our own little psychotic interrogator over here, who has literally a pyrokinesis obsession, is not touching the pod, put it back now. But then he goes to turn to Soundwave. Wait, hold on a minute. You think you can find the Decepticon warship so we could drop this off and maybe just end this war right then and there? To which Soundwave's like, unfortunately, he can't, as his systems, were kind of shut out of the Decepticon warship to prevent that from happening. To which they're like, dang. So, yeah. Episode of Scrap Heap kind of ends a little bit, and, well, kind of just get the Autobots and Deathbringers hanging out, maybe going for another Energon mine raid. But this is where we get the episode Con Job. And honestly, this is where we're going to leave it off here, as the Decepticons are finally getting what they need. Starscream is actually elated to see these 4 Decepticons. However, he notes something. Why are they damaged? Cracked, and paint and stuff, dents and everything. What happened to them? And this is where Knockout and Breakdown simply explain that before they came here, they had a run-in with the Constructicons, those traitors, if you will. And this is where Starscream is like, oh no, they're here, aren't they? To which this is where Breakdown is like, yeah, unfortunately, we also found someone else. I mean, we found 2 other people that might be helpful to Lord Megatron here. To which Starscream is like, really? And who are they? And this is where we actually get to see them. Tarn, who's damaged beyond belief here, but again, still functioning. I swear, I think I abuse Tarn more than I do Overlord, but hey, it is what it is here. And then we also get an explanation on what happened. So they were actually trying to ambush the Constructicons back on, well, I would probably say a random moon or something like that, as they actually stopped at a refueling station to actually fuel their ship up. And so this is where Tarn simply explains that they heavily underestimated their former combiner, thinking they gone soft. However, Tarn does state he was able to survive thanks to his new apprentice here, that being the likes of Deadlock, with Deadlock even stating that he's actually here for revenge. And keep in mind, this Deadlock is based on his Cloud World form here, or Cloud World iteration, meaning that he's not going to be turning good anytime soon. And keep in mind, he is after Stinger for the death of his master, Bludgeon. So, yeah, kind of still ultimately loyal to Decepticons all the way. And this is where he simply does have a conversation with Skyquake about their honor. Let me know if you guys get the reference of this one. And, well, in all honesty, I think Skyquake would definitely encourage him to seek out vengeance more than anything, and to live up to his master's name for his honor and dedication. But we would end this off at the Autobot base, where Optimus is actually extremely happy. Keep in mind, this is like Optimus's best day. He's got his Autobots, he's got the Deathbringers. Keep in mind, they do find out about Cliffjumper's death and everything. And this is also where we see the Constructicons walk in with their new vehicle modes, or at least with their Earthbound vehicle modes. And this is where Optimus begins explaining the rules to them. And that's where we're going to leave it off here, you guys. I know this kind of chapter is kind of short and everything, but this is kind of a setting up chapter for how everything's going to go on Earth. And, well, next part is going to be multiple parts dedicated to certain, sections, like Convoy's still going to have the main team Prime. Deathbringers are going after the Synthetic Energon Peel, and the Constructicons going after the Polarity Gauntlet. But that's going to be all for today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe, and share it with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I'll see you guys for another video. Peace.